Good evening, my fellow Mavericks, and welcome to the Unbalanced Zone, the world's last bastion for free thinkers and the cancelled. We have several disturbing stories tonight. AI promises to revolutionize our way of life, but can it handle a Sasquatch attack? The weather balloon. Was it a Chinese spycraft or a sign from God? And is your child kissing a bird on the mouth? What's happening in the school systems? This is what I, American Prometheus, will discuss tonight with my co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Red. What is this bit? Yeah, I'm Red. I'm here to engage with the Unbalanced Zone.
I'm hanging up the call.
Looks like someone can't handle the truth.
This was not the bit I thought it was going to be.
Hey, I'm Mel, and today is an auspicious day to ride the train.
Mel, how do you feel we should have dealt with the balloon? Was it right to shoot it down, or should we have created an artificial sun?
Don't you just put...
When you come on American Prometheus' show, these are the questions. Okay, I can't do this anymore. Hi, Ross.
I definitely feel that the launch codes need to be deployed. Luring the balloon into space is, of course, the only viable solution. I was kind of losing it when the balloon showed up and then some jets attacked it.
How topical this episode is.
Yeah, honestly.
Ridiculous. The bit I thought you were going to do was I was expecting you to do the announce the podcast with the QUE in a different order, like the guy talking about his computer.
Oh.
That was my prediction. I did not have...
That's a pretty good bit.
I did not have that whole alternate reality of what this podcast could be.
I mean, I guess now we know what Joe Rogan would respond to kaiju.
Probably.
That would be the only circumstance where I would maybe watch a clip of Joe Rogan.
I would be worried though if Mephiles was around and like made a woman huge, then I would absolutely not watch any clips.
Yeah. Mephiles in our future still a threat.
Mephiles would be the guest.
He's approaching.
Like he would just go on the show.
He would
absolutely.
Tune in 3 months when we get to the Mephiles episode of Ultra.
There we go.
I would happily have Mephiles on this show.
Same.
Happy to be charmed. We watched 3 episodes of Ultra Q. They were very different.
Yeah.
Just like last week.
Yeah, there's no episode of Ultra Q that's the same.
You think it's going to be the same, but then even then it does something weird about it.
Yeah.
Even when you're 5 minutes away from the end of the episode, sometimes you're like, I'm still not even entirely sure what we're doing here.
Sometimes the episode decides to change everything in the last 30 seconds.
Yes. Did we want to do the pre-show segment first before we got to the...
We can warm up.
Well, I feel like we may have been unbalanced a bit by Razin's.
We are officially in the Unbalanced Zone. I would have happily named this podcast the Unbalanced Zone if we knew that this was going to be a thing. But I can start. I watched Rodan this morning.
Good.
Yay!
That movie's good.
Hey,
it's a great time.
I got 30 minutes into it, and I was like, "So the movie's nearly done, right?" I'm expecting something to kick off, and then the movie's going to be finished. And then I checked the time. I was like, "Oh, I still have an hour left." It packs a lot in. It was nice to see Jun 10 years younger as the main character of Rodan. I did not clock that Dr. Serizawa was also in that movie. The bird is cool. Bird dinosaur.
I feel like we may get some callbacks to Rodan in this very episode of the podcast.
I kind of felt that too. I was like, oh, these wind shots.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
I do like the cool thing about Rodan. Obviously, in the current day, we know who the fuck Rodan is, but when this movie came out, it's like a mystery, and so the movie is set up like a mystery. Like, you don't fucking know. It's like it's halfway through the movie until you actually see Rodan. Like, the start of the movie is like, what the fuck is up with these weird caterpillars? What the fuck?
Well, this is the thing. I was fully expecting the bird, and then like camera switch, and there's this fucking weird lava thing. And I was like, what the fuck is happening in this movie? What the fuck?
And then 3/4 of the way through, you get a second Rodan has hit the World Trade Center, and it's like, wait, there's two.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
And then they hit the volcanic layer.
They do hit the volcanic. Fuck.
Well, one of them hits the volcanic layer, and out of love, the second one also hits the volcanic layer, which is beautiful.
I need to get back to the Toho Kaiju.
Yeah, Dr. Ichinotani standing off in the distance, smiling menacingly. Yeah, it was a good movie. I had a good time. Very shocked that it's less than 90 minutes. Another one that it just goes. It was really cool. That's it from me. I did not watch anything. Well, I watched stuff, but I've mostly been reading a very, very long book.
I've also been reading.
Nella's also been reading, yeah.
You were way ahead of me, but...
Yeah, I got past a very famous battle in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, of which there is a John Woo movie that I don't know whether I can watch it yet. I don't know whether to watch it now or wait until I finished all of the book.
Yeah, I'm gonna...
You know you have a really fucking good book when you can just make a movie about one part of it.
It's
you have a long book when you can make a movie.
Yeah.
I say a movie. It's a 2-part movie. It's 5 hours.
Holy shit.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I want to watch that too. Among like 5 other things I want to watch and play related to this book. Did you know there's a Korean Kamen Rider Ryuki clone that's like everyone is Romance of the Kingdoms themed?
Oh hell yeah!
That
sounds so sick.
I saw like six episodes like 5 years ago or something, and I was like, this is cool, but I don't get what's going on because I don't fucking know these characters. But now when I'm done this book, I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to watch immediately.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so that's me.
Yeah,
that's what I've been doing.
I guess I can pick up because I've also been reading that book. This morning I read the chapter where for some reason Lubu and Liu Bei become friends somehow. What the fuck? This book is insane.
Lubu's so funny.
He's extremely funny. Everyone is funny. Like, these people get where they are because they are the most unhinged people in the entire empire.
They're just so ridiculous.
Liu Bei just absolutely wanting zero responsibilities. He's like, oh, I wish people would recognize me who is absolutely part of the royal bloodline, but also I am definitely too noble to have any responsibilities. Please leave me alone.
Me reading Romance of the Three Kingdoms and finding out why Yang Wenli is like that.
I don't know that yet, so I'll see. I still need to get. To get to your boy.
Yes, look forward to Kongming. Kongming's the best. I was worried he would be overhyped by him having the whole anime that everyone loved. He was not. He's great.
I have an excuse to rewatch the anime when I'm done this book.
Yeah.
What else have I done? Didn't talk about it last week, so I guess I'll talk about it now. I've been playing Mega Man Legends 2. The sequel to Mega Man Legends on the PlayStation 1. They're both on the PlayStation 1. It's a neat game, a fun game. Me as a Mega Man fan trying to fill the gaps in the games I'm playing. It controls better than the first game, which is nice because, the first game came out.
And also not hard, Jesus.
I mean, you say that, but the second key So in Legends 2 is like different because you're island hopping and trying to get different keys, whereas the first game is like all on one location that you get to like fully explore. And I feel like there are pros and cons to this because there's a lot more biodiversity in terms of environments in the second game, but also the first island, Catalog's Island in the first game, has like more personality because it's like a place you inhabit.
That's the thing.
For the full
That's
game.
the thing I constantly feel about that game is like I remember the area of the first one so much, like it just sticks with you.
Yeah, and like it's
way
it's
more.
like a town you basically like your second home while you're like chilling, having an adventure. And meanwhile, the places you visit are just places you visit in the second one. It's kind of cool to see different towns and like see different environments in the worlds, and like it's an excuse to do like more diverse dungeons because all the dungeons in the first game are the same. And meanwhile, I've got like half the keys, so I'm still like halfway through the game. But like so far, I've done a cool jungle electric bug trap dungeon, and I've never done the water temple in Ocarina of Time because I've actually never played a Zelda game. But this is probably more miserable because being in it's a water level dungeon where being underwater makes the game go at half the frame rate.
Oh, you love that.
And
Perfect.
in order to move at all, you need the rocket jet boots, but that's just you move. It feels like even with the water jet boots, you move at like half the speed you walk normally above ground. I cannot tell you how much it was like going into a room with water and then going out into a room without water and being like, wow, the game is running fast again. What the fuck? The second key is abysmal just for like the stupid missions you have to do, fighting Glide and fighting the birds and then having to go through the water temple, and it's just like, this is dire. And I am glad that this game has dual stick controls because they make the game feel a lot more playable combat wise, because like that was my biggest complaint with the first game, was just like, I don't mind controlling this game when I'm in the town, but when I'm in the dungeon fighting a boss, it's just really hard for me to do the tank control, no dual sticks.
When I played the first one, I had the Nintendo 64 version growing up, and I remember that being not fun with that controller.
Yeah. I will also say, like, the game looks amazing. Like, Legends 1 and 2, some of the best looking PS1 games. Just that cartoon art style is amazing. Opposite end of the spectrum, Vagrant Story, also one of the best looking PS1 games, but that's different. But I will say, I can see that 2 is like a graphically superior game because like at the very tail end of the PS1 life, 2000, I think this game came out. But like I do think I like the way the characters' designs or their faces are drawn in this first game more. Like they feel a bit more. I don't know. I like the look more in the first game of their like the facial expressions and how they're animated. It feels like a brighter game too. The first game, like the second game's a bit like the character designs are a bit like darker almost. I don't know how to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, flashbacks to me in grade 11 in 2011 thinking, man, I can't wait to get a 3DS so I can play Mega Man Legends 3 on the 3DS.
Good times. Fond memories.
Me when I have been a Mega Man fan for 2 years. I'm thinking, man, there's so many cool Mega Man projects coming out. I am so glad I found this franchise with so many games and with a healthy future ahead of it.
Rest in peace.
But yeah, I'm gonna finish Legends 2 at some point. I'll talk about it more as I progress. And also, hopefully this year I'll be able to tackle the other white whale in my Mega Man fandom, which is the entire Battle Network series.
Nice.
Yeah, I think. See, a couple more things. One, I was behind on Trigun Stampede, so I tried catching up on Trigun Stampede. I have now dropped Trigun Stampede.
Oh no.
Rest in peace.
I watched like 2 episodes and I was like, so Studio Orange, amazing animation, 3D wise. Plot of this show, just depressing, just a lot more gratuitous violence and just abject misery than the original show. Like, like I talked about it before, like the first half of like Trigun is like a lot more like comedic adventures. Like there's still like stakes and danger, but like it's a lot more lighthearted in tone, and then like the serious stuff ramps up. And like the serious stuff can be hit or miss depending on certain stuff, like anything to do with Vash's backstory / knives appearing at all, I hate. But Legato and Mid Valley the Horn Freak, those are all-time guys.
Love. All I know about Mid Valley the Horn Freak is his name is Mid Valley the Horn Freak, and he's one of my top. He's like top 10 anime character for me.
He's got a fucking saxophone. He's just cool. And then the Stampede just like is all about all in the knives stuff specifically. It's like this is a show about Vash and knives. Millie, the nice girl character, is just not even here.
Oh yeah, they replaced her with the guy?
With a guy who is just like the 40-year-old man who's just grumpy about everything, and he's just not as cool.
I remember they tweeted like a poster of Stampede, and they had to delete the tweet because literally every response was, "Where is Millie?"
Yeah. Innocent people just kind of die for no reason, like to a greater degree in the original show. Like I don't think the original show had that high of an on-screen body count, and I don't think it was as bloody, like at least until near the end, where it's more impactful, except also tied with the stuff that sucked. But anyway, Trigun is a complicated series. I don't know. I basically was like watched episode 3 and was like, actually I hate this, but I will watch one more episode just to see Wolfwood, and I did, and I was like, well, I'm done now.
Got my Wolfwood, I'm gone.
It's just like, yeah. Wolfwood is also an all-time guy. Also, I finished Bubblegum Crisis this morning. How was
Bubblegum Crisis?
It is fine. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. It is just fine.
I think that might be the worst answer.
I just watched it and I was like, oh, it's like. So I thought I'd like Bubblegum Crisis because like cool cyberpunk girls getting into tech suits. And if you know anything about me, when I see girls doing action while being a color-coded team, I'm like, oh, I'll put this into the magical girl-shaped square hole.
Yep.
As one does. And I will say, I did enjoy the last episode. I feel like it was the best one. It's just like about a comedic story about like a reporter girl who's like trying to investigate the identity of the Night Sabers, and it's kind of like fun and goofy, and you feel like the characters' personalities kind of pop out more. But for the most part, I'm just kind of like, I think even like the second last episode was pretty alright too. But like for the most of the show, it just feels like the characters don't like, they have like stock personalities, but I didn't really care about them or feel anything from them. And instead, most of the show is like, this sure is the cyberpunk dystopia where this evil corporation is making these evil robots that the Night Sabers, who are this mercenary...
The Boomers.
Yeah, they're the Boomers! Absolutely ridiculous names for robots. The Night Sabers just go shooting up especially bad robots who do crimes / terrorism / they're doing something. They're Mavericks, I guess. I don't know. It's like most of the show just feels really bleak, where it's like, well, here's a character and they die, and the girls get sad about it and kill the robot, I guess. I just don't really know what to comment on about it. There was episode 4, I think.
It's one of those shows that I feel like exists within that Ninja Scroll category for me, where like, so like I watched that in like high school, and I think around the time that I watched it, it still had that reputation of like, oh, this was like the cool shit that like, first like introduced, like people in the West first saw like what anime could really be, like that sort of thing or whatever. Right. It always just kind of existed as like, oh, this is that like cool VHS shop like back room like thing that you rent out for the weekend with your friends.
Yeah.
And I had those, so I started rewatching this because you referenced you were watching it, and all I've managed to get through so far is the first episode, but my takeaway was like, oh yeah, this fucks just like seeing See the stupid robot action again.
Yeah, I mean, the action
But
is cool.
You are right in that the character writing is not particularly great. And even if I recall, like, things don't really... I feel like the show doesn't really tighten up and
There's no
like
plot.
start going places until the... Yeah, there really isn't.
It's-
Until like the last few episodes, I feel like it's pretty shallow in terms of what it's trying to
Yeah,
communicate.
like I think episode 1 is like a fine introduction episode, I guess, but it didn't leave as much of an impression on me. Episode 7, 8, I think are pretty alright. That's the last two. Episode 7 is like about like this rocker who's like out for revenge against like someone, and there's like more like investigation stuff involved of where she's trying to kidnap like the person who killed her sister, kind of stuff. So there's more going on there. I still feel like I'd appreciate this Bubblegum Crisis more if it was more like episode 8 specifically, but you know, episode 4 stands out to me as being completely ridiculous, where like it's about like a guy who was attacked while driving with his girlfriend by a bunch of bikers, and so he's gone on a crusade to attack all bikers by creating the ultimate supercar.
Wait, he's taking revenge not on any specific
No,
bikers,
he's
but
just
people
all
who-
bikers.
Yeah,
Fuck them,
Nice.
they all gotta go.
is ridiculous. Just builds the crazy supercar. The episode stands out just for being stupid, but I episode 2, I don't remember. I think I just remember, oh, girl dies. Episode 3, what happened? I don't remember. Episode 5, episode 6, don't. I don't. I watch like one episode a day, pretty much, and there's like half the show that I don't remember at all.
See, it's funny because there's also a lot about the show that I just do not remember from the last time I've seen it. And it's funny to me how much I am picking up on, like, since I watched this when I was like 17 or 18 or whatever. I hadn't seen Blade Runner before I had watched Bubblegum Crisis, so then right away it's like, oh, the band is called Prison the Replicants. Okay, haha, I get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then also, like, the ending of the first episode, they just recreate the ending of Do You Remember Love?
I think
She flies through the hallway and then shoots the big headman
I
and
need
it
to
explodes.
check because I feel like the studio that made this may have had like some overlap with Macross stuff.
Oh, okay,
If
that
they
makes
have
sense.
overlap with Do You Remember Love, that's the wrong bit of Macross to have
Well,
overlap
yes.
with.
Yeah. I know this is like Studio Art Mick. They did the. I think they did one Megazone thing. They did Mosspedia, which I mean isn't actually related to Macross, but for reasons it sure gets associated with it.
It's the only reason anyone remembers that show exists. So.
I forget. Did they do Megazone? They did Maddox, which I actually have a Blu-ray disc for. Oh yeah, they did the third Megazone 23. So maybe
I can believe that.
Yeah, so I think Megazone 23, which I might still watch at some point.
I need to watch Megazone.
I need to watch.
I never got around to that.
There's some OVAs I need to watch. Short things are nice.
Yeah.
I am torn on whether I want to see Bubblegum Crash because, one, this disappointed me. Two, a lot of people say that Bubblegum Crash is like the worst sequel to Bubblegum Crisis, and so that was like maybe like I'm curious but cautious. But now after seeing this, I'm like, tempting fate. Well, if Bubblegum Crisis fans dislike Bubblegum Crash, maybe it's actually good.
Yeah. See,
Which-
never engaged with. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which you know, tempting fate as a Gundam Seed watcher going into Destiny may do. Not working out so far, but you know.
Yeah. I never watched AD Police or any of the other like stuff around Bubblegum Crisis. And I'm curious, maybe after I do this rewatch, I will how I'll feel about that stuff. See, my thing is I'm very curious to see how it lands for me now, but I think that this may just be one of those things where it's like I can appreciate this in the same way that I appreciate a really well done PS1 FMV.
Yeah.
That's where Bubblegum Crisis
Yeah, I mean
exists
it looks
within my headspace.
it looks cool, and I definitely fuck with the heart suits. Like I am. Are you kidding me? I'm obviously super into the idea of Magic Girl adjacent team that puts on power suits. Like obviously.
See, this time watching it, I never remember having this problem, but for whatever reason I did now. I kind of wish the suit designs were at least a little more distinct, because I keep forgetting which of the three bluish silver ones are who.
It'd probably help if the characters had personalities too, but
That too. Yeah.
If you get into like Crash or like the TV version of Bubblegum Crisis, I'd be worth hearing your opinion just to see how that is.
Yeah.
I will say this without elaboration, but I feel like Licorice Recoil fits into the Magical Girl square hole more than Bubblegum Crisis. Anyway.
Oh, wait, this does remind me too. I downloaded the Bubblegum Crisis tabletop role-playing game system because I saw that existed, and I was like, why did all these random anime properties get fucking tabletop RPGs back, like, way back in the 90s? Because Vadam's got one too. But then I looked, and sure enough, the Bubblegum Crisis RPG was made by and uses the same system as the Vadam's RPG.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely feel like Bubblegum Crisis is probably elevated in at least Western consciousness by being like one of the first ones that came over here, and just being like, anime being novel at the time. Probably I'm not old enough to remember that time, but I just
the thing that this is Babby Rosin talking to like cool cousins friend group back in the day, like getting into like the old boomer weeb shit. But the thing that I had always been true. The thing that I had always been told was that Bubblegum Crisis was one of the first few things that brought over that had a dub, where the dub tried to just stick close to the original and not like edit anything or like censor stuff or whatever. And that was kind of a big deal at the time, which I can see. But
that makes sense.
I feel like there's a reason it kind of faded in history. None of the Zoomers are going out there and revisiting this. No one's asking for a Bubblegum Crisis reboot, I feel.
Yeah.
Although the idea that the Zoomers were also revisiting Trigun is funny.
Yes, that is true.
I mean, I only started watching Trigun, the original, because I heard Stampede was coming out, and I was like, oh yeah, shit, Studio Orange. I like those shows. I like the first half of Trigun, at least.
Well, you got something out of it.
I got something out of it.
But do we have anything else?
I've been sick the entire week. I did jack shit other than lay down and cry, so...
We'll forgive you this one time.
Thank you.
It is getting noted in your evaluation.
Okay.
Mel, what was that?
Oh, I was just like looking up because I remember I thought that the person who helped bring over Bubblegum Crisis was involved with stuff, and I looked up. I thought it was someone who brought over Maddox, and I think I was thinking of the wrong person. But the person who did a Maddox Kickstarter recently also created Wizardry. That's okay.
Yeah. Robert Woodhead, he's great.
Yeah. I got the Kickstarter, but I tried to have my name changed on the disc, and now I don't have a name on the disc, which is unfortunate. Oh well.
Yeah. No, that was why I've been slowly picking at making a Wizardry video for like over a year now, and looking up the people who created Wizardry and learning that one of them was super influential in terms of getting anime out west was fucking wild.
Yeah. I guess it goes both ways, because I guess he gets anime out over here and somehow creates RPGs in Japan too.
Yeah, Japan loves Wizardry.
Tangential to that, I am so glad that the Nintendo Direct just completely solves my choice paralysis as far as me getting into Itrianison goes. Just like, you were torn between the original and Untold. Well, we'll just give you a good version of the original. There we go. Problem solved.
Problem solved.
I just have to pay $1 billion for it.
Yeah. Atlas.
I don't like.
And then they're selling PNGs that any other game would just let you edit or put in for free.
People will just mod in. You can just mod.
Yeah.
It's fine. I am thankful that it's like, hey, here's a good version of those first two games on the PC that I will probably spend $1 billion on, so I can finally get into the series.
Apparently they're talking about making a new entry next too already.
I mean, I figure making ports of the original for a non-DS 3DS console is a good way of testing the waters, saying, hey, can we even do this? And apparently they can.
I assume that'll just be like, Soul Hackers 2 team just like doing like normal dungeon crawler stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, do we want to get into Ultra Q? We have three we're starting with a weird one.
Yeah. We're ending with a weird one. All these are weird. Okay.
All of these are weird.
Actually, I feel like all of these are weird, but also I feel like the middle one is almost the most normal as far as like a kaiju show is.
This is true. Episode 10 of Ultra Q is called The Underground Super Express Goes West. Yuriko is due to board a brand new super high-tech underground express train that's running for the very first time today as a demonstration for the press. Two children aim to sneak onto the train, one named Ken the Weasel and the other named Ippei. Ken gets the help of a friend, and they execute the classic two kids wearing one trench coat stratagem. Ippei brings a camera and equipment in a silver case. Pretending to be a newspaper photographer, he slips onto the train, and the jet-powered Super Express heads off. Across town, Jun has been hired to transport a silver case that contains M1, an artificial life form with the ability to undergo rapid growth, and grumpy enough to get real angry over flash photography. For safety, M1 must be kept in a sealed cylinder. Jun checks the case to get a look at M1, but instead, inside the case, he finds a camera. Oh no. Ippei hangs out with Yuriko and discovers he has the wrong silver case. He has brought M1 onto the train, and it is seized by the crew, who place it in their super ultra mega safe that they have next to the driver. Before that can happen, a reporter snags a photo, and Yuriko ominously mentions that he probably shouldn't have used the flash. M1 breaks out of its seal, breaks out of the safe, and attacks the driver. M1 is, like Razan said, some Sasquatch-looking motherfucker.
I couldn't tell if it was supposed... Okay, so I said Sasquatch because I assumed, and it starts to make, like, kind of like monkey-like gestures. At first, I really thought it was a frogman. I could not exactly tell what they're trying to convey.
I'll tell you what it is. It's stupid looking.
Yeah. It's an ugly motherfucker.
Yeah. M1 is now in control of the train and starts hitting buttons for fun. Ken the Weasel and his friend are rumbled, and Ken escapes into the driver's cabin at the front of the train. At first, he thinks M1 is just a weird-looking robot somehow.
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, this really is a AI.
Yeah, but he catches on when the controls start sparking and exploding like it's an episode of Star Trek. The crew, unaware that there is a child in the front carriage, decide the only solution is to disconnect the passenger cars and let M1 continue to its doom alone. When they realize Ken is in danger, it is too late. They've disconnected the front car. The man who seems to be in charge of the project arranges for a mobile buffer to catch the train and hopefully minimize damage. However, I can see that all those buildings are models, and so I know what is going to happen. He estimates an 80% chance of Ken surviving, but the truth is, he was ill-prepared to guess what could possibly actually happen, which is Ken climbs into the super ultra mega safe, and when the train plows into the buffer, obliterating all the buildings behind it, the safe and M1 are thrown all the way to fucking space, and they orbit the Earth together. The end.
And the Sasquatch says something about being a seagull?
Yeah, he sure does.
Right. I did not look this up. Maybe I should have.
I felt like I was missing something, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck this is. Why was M1 riding the train as it slammed into the thing, and then why did they have the barrier in front of a refinery that exploded?
I have a lot of questions about this episode.
I have a lot of questions, and a lot of them
how-
are specifically in the last 2 minutes.
I don't think we've left the Dragon Palace.
We have not
have a new
Dragon
theory.
Palace.
No, I feel like I'm seeing a common theme where if kids are part of the plot, things are just going to be weird unless they're also Pokemon
Yes.
trainers.
True.
He is a Pokemon trainer. He's gonna catch them all. The inciting incident for this episode being Ippei picks up the wrong case. Very funny. Big fan.
I was a big fan of the setup of like this incident happens within the span of 15 minutes on this debut train, and Ippei just brings the wrong case. I think it is extremely bizarre that like the show opens with like this kid who's shining shoes and being like, I'm an old Tokyo native. He's like talking like a salesman, and he's like sneaking onto the train with his other friend later in the episode. But the start of the episode, he's paired with a different kid, and the other kid just doesn't show up again in the episode.
Yeah, completely different child. Clearly, that the first child, too short, could not pass off being a grown man in a trench coat.
Works every time.
I also enjoy Ippei sneaking onto the train, no questions asked. Then he comes back out and says, "By the way, I am a reporter. I have a camera." And then the lieutenant's just like, "Huh?" As if like my suitcase says definitely cameras, and it is asking a lot of questions answered by my suitcase.
Yes.
Yeah.
The moment he's like, "I've got a camera in here," opens case. What?
Well, my favorite part about it too is that he opens the case, realizes he has the wrong thing, and immediately the crew's like, "Oh, there it is," and then just grabs it out of his hands within the span of 5 seconds.
Jin calls them up.
Yeah, we're on the clock.
I also think it's just extremely funny how this guy, his scientist, is asking Jin for a job, and he's just like, "By the way, oh yeah, this is the first artificial life form ever created in this suitcase," and no one even is like, no one cares.
No one cares.
It's just like, oh yeah, artificial life form. Calls up the train. Oh yeah, artificial life form. Okay, gotta put this in the safe. No, everyone's just completely like, yeah, okay, yeah.
This episode has an energy to it that I did enjoy. The guy who is in charge, I don't know what his job actually is. He's like a tour guide.
He was like the tour guide, but also like the guy in charge who just doesn't care.
Yeah, he is both in charge but also tour guide. But he's like extremely funny.
If you think about it, he's a lot like Lube.
Oh no, we have started Three Kingdomsing Ultra Q. He's constantly like getting the order wrong for what the JFOME/JOFME, because we never get a definitive answer. Yeah, it's like he would solve this if he knew what it stood for. He doesn't know what it stands for. He doesn't care.
He's very adamant that after giving his tour guide, everyone gives him a clapping.
Yeah, he's like, the first round of applause, he's like, "Oh no, that isn't necessary." But when he doesn't get a round of applause, he's like, "Well, come on, I need to be magnanimous. Give me the round of applause so I can, tell you to pipe down."
My favorite joke with him is when they're walking down the staircase and he starts to get like, he gives a really long explanation for how he's only going to give a short explanation.
Yes.
It's great. I love this man.
He's I'm a ridiculous man. Probably shouldn't be in charge of everything, but thank God he is.
I do love the model of the train they built with jet rockets on it.
Yes.
And wings.
Yes.
Aerodynamic wings.
Like, I do kind of like the quaintness, because it's like, this is the 60s, and so the idea of high-speed rail is like really exciting and new, but also this fucking train has jet wings on it.
And also a fucking lance on the nose. This thing looks like it's about to stab something. The front of this train is so sharp.
I'm coming back to. They should come back to this train when they need a kaiju stabbed through the heart at really high speed. I'm coming back to Thunderbirds again. This is a Thunderbirds train. This is a train that is it's a brand new model. We're gonna test it today. It's gonna be great, and then everything goes fucking wrong, and they need to call international rescue.
I did like the shots of just like the train leaves the tunnel and people go around and see it. Just nice touches.
Yeah.
Something that really bothered me is that the wings reach out and go over the platform. If you're too close to the the actual,
That's so funny.
Yes. If you're too close to the track, this thing is just gonna clothesline you, and I'm pretty sure it would turn you into salsa. It is kind of terrifying when it first pulls up.
Oh, I did not notice that. That's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, I liked this episode. It's very ridiculous. It's not necessarily to be taken seriously. But I remember turning on the episode and seeing immediately that the buildings I was looking at were all models, and I was like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we're starting to identify archetypes of episodes now.
Yeah.
And I'm comfortable pinning this in the Gonzo Child's Tale category.
Yes, Gonzo Child's Tale. Do we have anything else about episode 10 of Ultra Q?
I'm a light thumbs up. I was like, I didn't really know what to make of this one at the time.
Yeah.
But overall, I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I think this episode was good. I don't know what to make of the last minute. I'm wondering if they just ran out of ideas how to end the episode, but sure, I guess.
Well, did they? So, two possibilities. One, whoever wrote this started with the idea of, yeah, it'll be funny, he'll go to space. Alternatively, the other extreme, they started with the rest of the episode and then got to the end and were like, well, we can't just kill the fucking kid. He can't just die. We have to fix this somehow, and just went absurdist.
I do like the chief guy just going down as a train and like buildings explode. He's like, dang, why didn't I remember the safe that's super safe and like immune to everything? And you just see the safe go flying.
I almost wonder, so like, when we get these episodes that like the central character seems to be focused more on the kid, I almost feel like they sprinkled a few of these in like the Dragon Palace episode because they were concerned maybe with not having enough stuff to keep kids' interest, and like they wanted to have some more like a little more cartoony, like out there episodes in the mix just to keep children's interest, because like that final punchline is basically like a Looney Tunes bit.
Yes.
You have the same energy
I
as
almost
the
wonder
Dragon
if part
Balls.
of that it has, yeah.
Alternatively, reading it as part of the Ultra Q canon, the only explanation is that kid did genuinely die and went to heaven.
That's true too.
I mean, we're never going to see him again either way. So, death of the author. You can choose your own.
He was the balloon.
He was the balloon.
I guess we should segue on to last week's news.
Yeah.
Yes.
Episode
When I
11.
saw the name of this episode, I went, oh, here we fucking go, and I wasn't disappointed.
Yeah, episode 11 is called Balloonga. And while my summaries don't get into it, you know we're going to talk about the jets shooting rockets at the balloon. A spaceship is on its way to rescue Ken. A one-man rocket is returning from space, but when the astronaut fires the thrusters to slow the descent, he discovers the rocket is suddenly out of fuel. The astronaut observes a strange balloon attached to the window, and the rocket plummets into the sea. A week later, Jun and Yuriko are flying over the location of the crash, where they spot a man with a balloon on the shore. They have to make an urgent landing when Jun finds that the Cessna has run out of fuel. On the ground, Ippei investigates and finds a strange, fleshy balloon that was attached to the plane. They stick it in a box and decide to take it to someone who might know what it is, but on the way their car runs out of fuel, and the balloon begins to expand. Jun, Yuriko, and Ippei get out and watch as the balloon fills the car, lifts it into the air, and finally expands to the point that the car can't contain it, breaking apart. A piece of the car falls in the direction of Yuriko, and Ippei pushes her out of the way, taking the hit himself.
Because Yuriko is very adamant of taking pictures, as always.
Yeah. She's taking the picture of her demise coming straight at her. Ippei is hospitalized and needs further surgery. In the meantime, Jun has been digging and found that a disgraced scientist called what was the scientist called? Dr.
I did not write it down.
I think I wrote it down. You know what? No, I didn't write it down because I thought you'd write it down.
I will call him the Doctor. He's called a disgraced scientist once claimed to have raised a similar creature and named it Balloonga.
It was Naramura. Naramaru.
Naramaru, called Dr.
Yes.
Naramaru, once claimed to have raised a similar creature and named it Balloonga, which is just sticking gala on the end of balloon. This is how you get, what is it, Shimigami Tensei, not Shimigami Tensei spells. What spells is this? It's from some JRPG.
It is Shimigami Tensei.
At the end.
Oh, no, also Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy.
You got your Ziongas in SMT though too.
There we go. When asked to prove his findings, Dr. Naramaru claimed he had killed the creature for the safety of human civilization. Balloonga continues to expand, absorbing fuel, electricity, and even the energy of missiles and the surrounding jet fighters that were meant to bring it down, destroying the American jet planes launched to take down those Chinese balloons. Tokyo is evacuated, but Ippei and a few other patients can't be moved. They are forced to remain with the hospital's skeleton crew during widespread power outages. Yuriko and Jun find Dr. Naramura, who claims Balloonga is a punishment sent by God. Overnight, Balloonga absorbs the energy of a raging typhoon. Dr. Naramura has one idea up his sleeve. It's a hell of an idea. The UN detonates a nuclear warhead in space, a false sun, which is juicy enough bait to lure Balloonga into space, its natural habitat, to feed on stars as it was meant to. Dr. Naramura reveals his son was the astronaut on the doomed rocket. The end.
I like this
This
episode
episode
a
has
lot.
some really cool ass effects.
Yes, it fucking does.
This is the scariest Metroid I've ever seen in my life.
They commit to the balloon being scary so hard. I was like, it's a balloon. I'm not into it, but no, it's really good.
Yeah, unlike other people, this terrifying balloon is justified.
Yes.
Yeah.
This balloon genuinely actually a threat.
I love how this episode keeps ping-ponging back and forth between so many different threads. Because we get the obvious, like, oh, it's an alien invasion type of, or some alien life form plot. And then immediately the doctor responds, no, this is like a heavenly messenger.
Is a force of nature.
Yes. For humanity to, come to grips with its usage of energy and stuff like that. But then we immediately then cut to the human element of, hey, there are people that need modern institutionalized medicine in order to survive, and we cannot just abandon their needs.
That's good stuff.
It's such a good human conundrum. And I adore everything about it. And everything even too about the doctor's just emotional baggage being all wrapped up in this and his story and what he's gone through and the fate of his son and all that. It's really well done. I enjoyed this episode a lot, and I'm surprised I've said this about a big flesh balloon. Was not expecting that going into this one.
Just very cool to see like the typhoon happening on all the effects, and then like the balloon eats the typhoon. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, just like the typhoon just vanishing.
I think I missed.
Holy shit!
I think I missed the part where like the artificial sun was like his plan. So for me, it just felt like why is there an artificial sun? Well, okay, I guess that's his problem. I
Yeah,
will
so-
say that, like, what were you gonna say?
Oh no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna also say just like his last line of like, oh, he remembers now his original food, the sun. He's a wandering creature that eats on the energy of stars. Who will win, Balloonga or the sun? It sounds kind of raw and cool, but to me, it just sounded like who would win, the sun or 10 trillion lions?
I love the narration's suggestion of, well, maybe the sun isn't the sun anymore. It's the balloon that's eaten the sun.
Yeah, what if you look up the sky and there's a balloon instead of the sun?
What was the quote? It's like, it's just like a Zen dialogue.
Yeah. Oh man, the effects on the typhoon were very cool. I was a big fan of like all the roof tiles getting like whipped up and stuff. Which again, I watched Rodan this morning. Same stuff. It was really good. Gotta say, I would not just put it in like just a cardboard box.
Yeah,
I
that was
would,
very funny.
Someone.
This got like a
Yeah.
shoebox and put it in, and then they're just like, Jun is just driving, and then Ippei and Yuriko are just like arguing, "You take it, no, you take it."
Well, yeah, because the balloon kind of sneaks its way out of the box a little bit and touches Ippei's hand, which I would shriek. I would
Same.
be horrified.
I also, it's just very funny. The car runs out of gas at the intersection, and everyone's just like, "What's going on?" And the cops go, "What's going on?" And then the balloon just starts being it's weird shit.
Yeah, it's the helium balloons, Vine. We're flying away.
I also love that. I feel like this episode cements that whenever harm needs to be done to one of the main characters, it has to be Ippei.
Well, yeah, Ippei's the tank, and Jun's DPS, and Yuriko's support.
Actually, okay, I did want to bring up Yuriko's role this episode too, because I feel like this is the first time in a hot minute we've gotten so much actual focus on her doing her job, like with tracking down the professor and all that.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
she did investigating like a journalist.
Yeah, and that thread kind of ends with her and him just stumbling and like happening to bump into each other on the street, which is, sure, that's fine. But I did appreciate we got a little bit more focus on her actually being good at reporting and tracking down leads and stuff like that, because I feel like we haven't had that in a while, whereas we've had the boys piloting a fair bit the last few episodes. So
Yeah.
I also just like how she's had like the remorse for like, oh no, Ippei got injured because of me. I gotta go like apologize to him, and then Jun's just like, don't be too nice to him, or else he'll actually die.
Yeah. Jun,
listen,
Jun,
there are these things called death flags in situations like these, and
Jun
we can't
knows
have
what's
too
up.
many.
Yeah.
I know you're making him his favorite salad. I need you to stop.
Oh no!
I don't care. I don't care how much of it is done.
But I already got the pineapples out.
Oh man, Ippei, run. Yeah, I also just liked the scenes of just suspicious, like eerily quiet Tokyo.
Yeah.
It was really effective.
If you think about it, the balloon could have stopped that train.
The
Yeah.
balloon could have stopped that train. In other circumstances, the balloon could be a hero. Makes you think.
Makes you think.
Yeah.
Just imagining right now the ultra cute narrator just narrating, maybe you should be more careful about being scared of balloons. Monologue.
We didn't get a narrator for any of these 3 episodes,
We
did
did.
we? Did
Yeah.
we?
We got a narrator, but he was less unhinged this week.
Yeah.
Well, was it?
I mean,
was it at the end?
most,
Was it at the end of any of them?
He's mostly at the front. I think he was at the end of this.
Yes,
I think he was at
okay,
the end of the balloon episode specifically, but in the other 2 episodes, he's only in like the intro.
Yeah, because I remember him in the train, but I was specifically thinking we didn't get him during any of the final. The closing. We didn't get the closing lesson for any of these
12, in
3.
next episode we're talking about, he's like only got like 3 lines. Like he's very, very short
Yeah.
Well, you have to cut him out of the end of the episode to play the credits. The kid waving
we'll get to it,
Pokemon
but like
away.
the next episode was weird because like the intro like was just very short because they actually had credits at the end instead.
Yeah.
Because most episodes I think we have opening credits, but yeah, next episode's closing credits. Should we segue onto that episode?
Segue into episode 12. I Saw a Bird. The animals at a zoo get so riled up that literally every single one of them escapes. A zookeeper is found dying. When asked what happened, all he can say is, "I saw a bird. In his hands are a few white feathers." An old ship is seen in a bay. The gang investigate and find an old journal in a script they don't understand. A small white bird lands on Yuriko's hand, and the ship starts to sink. As the gang escapes, they watch it melt into the sea. It's very neat.
Yeah.
The bird flies away. A boy named Saburo is on an adventure. He's gonna be the very best. He's got everything he needs to stay a few nights at a shack on a nearby island. He steals a boat and heads off. During the journey, he is joined by the white bird, who is very friendly. Saburo arrives at the island, sets himself up in the shack, and asks the bird its name. It coos, and so Saburo names it Kuro. While Saburo is asleep, Kuro flies into the night. The gang takes the ship's journal to Dr. Ichinotani, who determines the ship must be about 1,000 years old. Jun speculates the ship might have traveled through the fourth dimension, and Yuriko calls him a nerd. Dr. Ichinotani notes that most of the journal is thorough and discusses the weather and logistics, but the final entry is just one sentence long. "I saw a bird, just like the dead zookeeper." Yuriko recalls the white bird and, flipping through a book, identifies it as a prehistoric species that has long been extinct and is thought to have grown up to 43 meters in length, and also has wings that the white bird that she saw earlier did not. That can't be right. But the last recorded sighting of this prehistoric species was 1,000 years ago, the same era the ship was from. Saburo and Kuro are best friends forever, but once again, when night falls, Kuro flies away, leaving Saburo to sleep. Somewhere, in the dead of night, animals are slaughtered by some unseen creature. Saburo wakes up and sees Kuro is missing. Where could that bird have gone? In the meantime, in the morning, that's a different word. The owners of the boat Saburo stole track him down and start dragging him away. They are stopped by Kuro, who seems unnaturally vicious and strong for such a small bird. Saburo returns to the mainland of his own accord, accompanied by Kuro. Saburo notices that people are scared of him and his new friend. The police seize Kuro, and the gang intercepts Saburo before he gets himself into trouble. In a prison cell, the coolest shit in the world happens as Kuro begins growing from little white finch to massive prehistoric proto-bird. It bursts out of the police station and flies away, whipping up winds that tear roofs off buildings.
Like Rodan.
Like Rodan.
Yeah.
The gang seeks safety as Kuro flies overhead, but Saburo recognizes the coup. He begs to go with Kuro, but gives in and yells goodbye, waving to the sunset as credits roll.
This was a fucking weird one.
It sure did end. Question mark?
No, it did. See, that's the thing. It didn't end. that bird.
That bird's still out there.
It just fucked off. The bird, which it's prehistoric. It's big.
Yes, that's how you know it's prehistoric. It's not prehistoric when it's small. It becomes prehistoric when it's big. That's how it works.
I really thought we were going to get a David Goliath story of how this was a case of mistaken identity and this tiny bird was going to go fuck up the big evil bird that showed up. No, same bird.
Same bird.
We need the other kid who come out with Litera.
Yes.
Who's Gary and who's Ash?
Saburo is Gary.
Saburo is Gary. Poor Saburo. Every scene of Saburo and Kuro being best friends in the whole world was so ridiculous. He
kisses this bird on the mouth.
So he kisses this bird on the mouth, which I think is a feeding thing. He's like feeding it water. I would still just feed it water normally, little kid. I would be normal about the bird. Just me though. I mostly just really liked this episode.
Yeah.
It's weird, but I really liked the sort of having a weird pet, and you can't keep the weird pet, and the pet has to run away. Otherwise, the pet has to be killed.
Yeah, just ride into the sunset like all kaiju do.
Yeah.
Yes.
He saved that bird from drowning.
He did.
He saved that bird from drowning. Whatever crew was making this episode endangered that bird. Just threw that bird in the sea. I had
some questions about that because I was like, I think they just threw a bird into the ocean. I don't know. That was.
If it was a prop bird, that's fine. But also, like, Jesus,
I really don't think it was.
I don't think they can safely lay claim to, no animals were harmed in the making of this. I think you threw that bird in the sea. Which is really mean because the bird is really fun. It's a really nice bird. It's very friendly, very well trained.
Until it, grows big.
Until it grows huge and destroys a police station and crushes that guy, like the foot coming right through the ceiling.
Yeah.
Extremely funny just seeing the people in the cell just freak out to this bird just growing huge.
Yes, as they watch the shadow on the wall as it starts to grow. It's real.
Such
it's very
a good
cool.
shot.
I've got to say, when Kuro grows to full size and like the head comes out of the police station and just starts to jerk around like bird heads do, I think that's the most convincing like person in a suit stuff that I've seen so far.
It looks really good.
It looks really good. Big fan of this bird.
I want to talk a bit about Jun specifically in the scene where they're at the professor's office. Big fan of just like Ippei and Yuriko are like, well, how can a ship be at sea for 1,000 years without being destroyed by storms or like spotted? And Jun's just like, wormholes. It's the fourth dimension. Time travel. It's the only way.
I read books.
He writes books. Allegedly.
He's
second.
He's like, the fourth dimension is in my novel coming out soon. It's never coming out.
I hope we get the very final thing in the series be like him saying something like, "Oh, I finally wrote my book." Then he closes the book and we get to see the shot of the cover and it just says ultra cute.
I want the book to be called The Unbalanced.
That'd be
yes.
The second thing about that scene, they're looking at the book saying, "Oh, this is a prehistoric ancestor to birds, whatever." Like, "Oh, it looks like a finch," and Jin with complete confidence being like, "Well, a finch would never fly over the ocean." In a conversation about evolutionary biology, completely neglecting the fact that the Galapagos finches exist.
Jun swinging hard in that scene, just like, I'm very confident. Wormholes, finches don't fly over water. That doesn't happen. Also, I'm gonna be honest. I mentioned it briefly in the summary. That weird proto bird does not look like a finch. It's got pterodactyl wings.
It's bat wings. It's bat wings. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, it's got full leathery wings, and Yuriko looks at that and goes, "Yeah, that's just like the bird I saw." I'm like, no, it's not. I know it absolutely is not.
Yeah. I get the sense that none of these people actually understand evolutionary biology, or else they know that birds came from dinosaurs, not pterosaurs. Jeez.
I like the idea that Dr. Ichinotani is just black in it. He's just like,
Oh,
yeah,
absolutely.
like we said, he got his career at PragerU.
Yes. He doesn't know shit. He's the one in the group that wears glasses and looks wise. So everyone keeps thinking like, oh, we'll go to Dr. Ichinotani with this stuff about this bird, and he's like, I don't know shit about birds. Yeah, it's just like this. It's like hand you this book. Which one does it look like?
I really like to think every single time they walk in, he goes, okay, I just need to point them in kind of the right direction. They'll keep trusting me.
Yeah.
Like a tenure another year.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not even like a biologist. I'm like a chemist.
Yeah, that one time I had that kid make a vat of salt water to destroy a kaiju-sized slug. That's using our chemistry equipment. I'm a chemist. I don't know shit about all these animals.
I don't know shit about geology.
A bunch of
Just wait.
yeah, a bunch of people. Yeah, I don't know anything about volcanic layers. I don't know anything. Saburo and his pet, the most suspicious pet in the world, flies away in the middle of the night and can fight off 3 grown men when it is the size of size of a finch.
Do you think that the guy, because the zookeeper guy at the start dies, I absolutely believed he did that in tiny finch form, and I cannot imagine just being paid probably way too little to guard a bunch of, like fucking cheetahs and shit. This little finch just comes and murders you. Horrifying.
Yeah. That poor guy.
Oh, the irony. Safe from the lions, but not some random fucking bird.
Some random tiny.
We still don't know where
bird.
those animals went.
They vanished.
None of the non-humans in this episode are accounted for by the time this wraps up.
Maybe they also went in the sunset.
Yeah.
Edit in a new punchline for this episode where while the credits roll, a lion just walks across the screen.
Oh, that would have been great.
Perfect ending.
Actually, the episode ends with Kuro turning to the camera going, I'm a seagull.
This is honestly, this is just like the time Ash let go of Butterfree.
Do we have anything more about episode 12 of Ultra Q? I Saw a Bird.
No.
I think I'm good.
I'm curious if this was a Rodan prop or not.
You know what? You can look that up.
You know what? Okay, hold on.
I'll look the wiki because I'm
on the page. Don't worry. Okay. So, Larugius's prop was altered to become the Litra prop, which in turn was a miniature Rodan from Ghidorah. And then after it was used for Litra, it was then sent back to Toho, where its head was defeathered and used to make the giant condor for 1966's Ibira, Horror of the Deep.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
So this was first and then became Litra. Interesting.
Okay. Also, apparently this bird is also in Shin Ultraman.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, huh.
Nice.
I do not remember seeing this during the highlight reel at all.
The highlight reel goes quick.
It's very fast.
It was very quick. Yeah, they're really making the most out of these suits. These props.
Oh, I'm sure. They gotta. I mean...
Yeah, like they cost money. They're not gonna not use them again.
I kind of want to go back through now and look at all of the ones we've seen so far and see if there's been any reusage that we didn't even pick up on. Like, what if the weird walrus, like, ice thing somehow got reused and we never knew?
I mean, it looks like it's Godzilla with you slap wings.
Just be careful. You don't accidentally spoil which ones show up in later shows.
Shit, that's true.
Like,
that's true.
Not all of these, I think, re-show up again later, but some of them absolutely do. So.
Wait, hold. Okay, so I know fucking M1's not showing up again. So let me.
No, don't look.
Oh damn. Okay.
Okay. Well, I guess then, that is an episode. We very, very strange combination of episodes. Once again, I keep thinking, well, obviously now we're going to settle into something kind of normal. We never do.
Yeah.
We are never left balanced.
Like, I think the closest we're getting is there are types of episodes that they're definitely operating within. But even within those very broad classifications, every single time I throw in the Blu-ray and sit down to watch one of these, I never know what I'm going to get. And sometimes, again, you don't know until the last fourth of the episode, which I think is great.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly having a great time with Ultra Q. Really enjoyed the episodes this week. If that's a podcast, I guess I can go straight into plugs. So if you want to follow the show on Twitter, you can at ultra_Q. That is at ultra_QUEUE. If you want to follow me, you can follow me at gender_redacted on Twitter. Anyone else can go?
If you want to follow American Prometheus and keep up with the Unbalanced Zone, you can find me at Truth Social I'm at Rosenbrand on Twitter. I'm gonna try to rest my voice and not make YouTube videos for a bit yet until I'm back to 100%, because that Elden Ring Let's Play already has way too many episodes of me just fucking dying of some random cold and being sick, and I'm not doing that again. So I'm just gonna wait till I'm back to 100% before I do anything. But I don't know. I have a lot of things to edit that are still in the chamber, so maybe I'll get back around to finishing up some of the editing I need to do for my Blades in the Dark game and my Worlds Without Number game. So maybe look forward to those. We'll see.
Nice.
I don't know if I can plug at the moment, but we do have an email address at altqpod@gmail.com. You can send emails there. Hopefully we'll get one day. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we will see you next time in the Unbalanced Zone for episodes, 13, 14, and 15?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting through the show. That'll be the halfway point.
Yeah, that's a halfway point, isn't it?
Whew.
Yeah, we're getting through it.
I don't want this to end.
Well,
no. I do want it to continue forever. It is kind of... Is pretty sick.
Unfortunately, the Silver Man is approaching quickly.
Are we the kaiju? It sounds like a threat.
The Silver Man with his crucifix beams.
Oh,
fuck, the Silver Man's here.
he's going to tell you about Jesus.
All right, well, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
See you, everyone.